Hey everybody, you may have seen in our, or maybe you didn't, in our recent email to you, we were talking a lot, or I told a story about my cousin, an experience he had had, and how his sense of academic identity sort of shaped his future. Hi, my name is Mike Manning. This is Jazz Mannion. And we want to talk with you today about the concept of what we used to call self-confidence, academic identity, right? In our work, we're called Just2 Tutoring. So of course we provide tutoring assistance. But the truth is, we're not so much concerned about the current assignment or assessment at hand, or even honestly, the current course. It really has to do with building a sense of self-confidence so that I can walk into pretty much any course in any academic arena and feel like I have a leg to stand on. And to have a realistic idea about what my abilities are. You know, what we're trying to do here is to build young people who don't say things like, I don't do math, right? That's too hard for me, that kind of thing. You know, we're trying to build a different kind of experience. And we can talk about these bigger ideas, but we also want to bring it down to daily, tangible activities that are relevant to building the identity that we're describing.
Yeah, and academic identity is about how I do something, right? And it really feeds or informs how I feel, right? And so when we're doing things on a day-to-day basis that feels rushed or feels like we're not doing our best, we can get confused, right? And we might not meet requirements, or we feel like our parents are constantly nagging us. We don't have the answer to that, right? And so our identity starts to get formed by maybe things we're not doing or that we don't have in place. We don't feel organized, and our confidence is much lower.
And in the interest of brevity, I just want to talk about the idea of like the indicators of academic identity or self-confidence in the classroom, right? Mm-hmm. So what are some things that parents might see that would be an indication that their kid is feeling confident?
Recently, I was speaking to parents and a mom and dad who said, wow, our kid just, called us up and said, hey, I did really well in that test, right? And I'm going to go out with some friends, and it just reporting about feeling really good about, what just happened for them. And parents are like, wow, that's great. They get to experience the goodness that their child's feeling, right? And this is a college student who called, they're out of state, parents are out of state. And they say, he does call us sometimes and tells us or emails us when things are going well, but maybe not so much when it's not going well. And that gives us an opportunity as parents to really call it out and say, I really enjoy when you speak to me about what's going well, and when you feel confident and when you're identifying with success, right? Let's open that up to when you're not, right? When things aren't so good for you, because we're here no matter what, and we're here to support you, right? So it just use the opportunities that are being given to you, to help your student process the not so good stuff and to celebrate when it is going well.
Yeah, and I think it's really applicable in our lives when our 12-year-old daughter is in a good mood, when things are going well for her. She's super chatty. And I think this extends itself beyond just the conversations that we have as parents and children. It also has to do with an openness, a transparency with our teachers directly, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're if you're working with Just2 Tutoring right now, you can anticipate that the coaches and the students are right now reaching out to teachers to request a forecast. And what I mean by that is, what should we expect for the next 4 weeks? Mm-hmm. Will there be a project? Will we have a few more tests? Well, there might be a certain bulk of points. Maybe there's been some long-term assignment that I was supposed to be managing throughout the grading period, and now it's time to get my act together and tighten that up. So reaching out to teachers is something we often do when things are going well, but maybe not so much when they're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, practicing communication and feeling of confidence no matter what, if I'm in math class or if I'm in LA class or Spanish class or whatever it is in an elective. I'm I'm connecting with this teacher or that teacher, I'm connecting with my parents. We want to help our young people get that they can show up in their feelings. They can show up in exactly how they are and be received, right? So in how we approach, what Mike's saying is, reaching out. You don't do that for your student, for your child, right? You want to do that with them, and approaching that with open-minded questions could be helpful, right? How do you know what's coming up in class for this coming week? Be in an appreciative inquiry way, right?
Or can you show me?
Or can you show me, right?
Yeah.
Or how do you know? Or I know something because I got a notification from a teacher. What do you know about what's happening, right now? So we do have a tool that you can grab from our website, motivational interviewing. There's a tool on there. We've mentioned that in our past communications, and you can definitely pick that up on our website. However, things to remind yourself in supporting, your young person to build that positive academic identity is to support them in whatever whatever they're bringing to you, right? And use it as an opportunity to have more of those conversations. Yeah, I think that's really important. We have some other tools that we're currently using. So if your student is in coaching with us right now, they are practicing creating a study calendar, ritualizing their study, ways that is reliable for them to enter into study time, homework time, and things that help them, follow through on what they say they're going to do.
So that's where we get into the real, tangible things I can do today that are going to improve my academic identity, right? So what sort of rituals do I have, or what sort of habits do I have that prepare me for study and prepare me for sustained study? What sort of habits do I have that can allow me to sort of take inventory on not just what's happening today and maybe tomorrow, but maybe a 4-day or even a 7-day outlook? And again, if your kids are involved in coaching with us, that we engage in some conversations about the big picture for the week. We often ask questions like, are there any doctor's appointments? Anybody coming to visit? Anybody having a birthday in your family? That sort of thing. So we have some outlook. When it comes to planning for calendar events such as Mother's Day or Father's Day or those kinds of things, we're often asking, how are you preparing for that? How are you preparing for your sister's birthday? This gives us an opportunity to work on time management skills in a context that's extremely relevant to the student.
Yeah.
So what we'd like to do is show you some of the resources we have on our website, and we're going to do that for you right now. Here's the thing. You're not going to just print this out and put it in front of your kid and expect them to follow it. This is going to take some time to integrate. But just to give you some context here, what we're attempting to do is give you a step-by-step process in regard to how we might more effectively prepare for things like homework and study. I'm not necessarily going to read this to you right now, but I want you to know that this very step-by-step tool is available to you, and you can print it out and use it anytime. But take a quick look at the specifics of what we're talking about here to minimize distractions, right? To make sure that your materials are set up and ready for functioning in a study environment, right? To set the tone, make sure you have what you need. Your personal needs are met. Make sure you go to the restroom, all that kind of stuff, right? Make use of a new tool, maybe something you never tried before, like a timer, something like that, right? And having a sense of routine is really important. And not just a routine of time, but a routine of place, right? And then create some kind of incentive for ourselves, right? Ask yourself a few questions before you sit down to study. These are just some real, easy, tangible things that we want to have at your fingertips. We understand that many of these things maybe you've tried before, or maybe you think might be somewhat obvious, but I think it's important for us to keep in mind that sometimes when we're feeling uncomfortable, it can be difficult to identify the tools, resources, and let's call it medicine that's right there in front of us.
When we speak about academic identity, we're talking about the experiences that inform how we feel about ourselves, right? It can be day to day, with teachers, with parents, with friends. But, what we're speaking about here is with you, the parent. And you may have hit brick walls. You may have, when you're speaking with your young person about school, right? They'll give you one answer, one word answers and such. What we're trying to do here, and that parents have found to be helpful, is asking and inquiring and connecting in ways that help us connect, right? That help us get more out of the one-word answers. So we've mentioned this tool before, but we find it to be really powerful. So we want you to see it in a new light about how to approach offering up a different tool to your student, like that ritualized study tool. So asking open-minded questions, I'd say open-minded versus open-ended, because it really helps to open your young person's mind. When you start with how or what or tell me about, or describe, as you see over here. And where I would focus on is, how would you like things to be different? That's a really great way to get your young person to engage. And you still might get one word answers, and that's okay, but just affirm, like, I really appreciate, how difficult this has been for you. And, I would like to dig in and see how we can make this different for you. Right? So what do you know, or how would you like things to be different? So your open-ended questions and affirmations can be really helpful. And then affirm, that's a good suggestion. Or, you're being really, thoughtful about this. Then we can get into reflective listening, and that allows us to check in and also encourages further exploration, right? What you see here of problems or feelings that are going on. So you want to move more into statements that are ending with a upward, like a positive inflection versus downward, meaning you might be opposing something. These are nuances of communication that we're talking about here. But again, when your student, your young person is bringing to you something that is a problem for them, you want to really bring it into discussion and help them process it, help them move through it, help them problem solve, find a different way, a solution. So this is a way to do that. Summarizing is really helpful as well, because then you can close it all out and say, all right, well, let's try this tool together, right? Or let's do, how about you try this on your own, or I'll do this part, right? How about I get you the crunchy snack, or the, something, a beverage every time. Let's get those things at the store this week, right? So that we have them for you, so that you feel this desire or calling into ritualizing, making it reliable, what can really be helpful for you to stay on track and do what you say you're going to do. So I really hope that's helpful, and we look forward to hearing from you, through our discussions online.
All right. In our discussions of academic identity, we just want to summarize and say that part of building academic self-confidence and identity has to do with being in a place where you feel self-confident, and that requires daily action. We made some suggestions today on some of the things that students can do in regard to their daily action. What we also identified was that a good indicator of positive academic identity or self-confidence has to do with being transparent and being willing and able to discuss what's going on for you. But it goes further than that.
Yeah.
And I think being able to engage our kids with questions that require a response, that consists of more than a one-word answer, is a craft. It's a skill that we learn as adults as we interact with our kids.
Yeah. And if your child's in coaching with us, we're practicing this in session, giving you tools in your parent coaching time to practice, right? And then coming into refining that and honing in that skill. But we encourage you to use these tools. And if you are seeking coaching for your child, please do reach out.
Yeah, and this is our opportunity to reach out, and we really appreciate you tuning in, listening, whether you've known us for a long time or you've never met us before. We hope that you see this as an opportunity to get some tips and, for lack of a better word, hacks on how to be better parents, how we can interact with our kids to build the independence that we want for all of them.
Yeah, and that no matter what experience is happening, negative, positive, challenging, or celebratory, we are the ones that they come to speak to and to trust. We are the safe zone, right? Because as parents, we can provide that connection, and that certainty, for our kids. And we're here to support that for you.
We want to thank you for tuning in and hope to see you again next Sunday.
And this is Sunny, everyone. I'm Jazz. This is Mike with Just2 Tutoring. Thanks for your time.